Welcome. My name is Beth Hudson, and I, as well as my husband and several other chaperones, are in the process of planning our May 2019 student trip abroad. This year, the focus will be on World War II and the Western Front, and this is a brief information video to provide you with additional information. All right, so our agenda for this little information meeting will consist of one, you'll hear a little bit about our travel story. We did travel last year, or this past May 2018, with a group of 21 students and parents, and we'll share a little bit about that. Also, the who, what, where, when, and why about all of this. Our partnership with EF, or Education First. Our tour itinerary, what's included and what's not, and the price and how to enroll. As I mentioned, my name is Beth Hudson and my husband is Bart, and we're pictured there on the right. We are in the airplane there getting ready to leave Indianapolis and head towards London. On the left there you can see some of our students that we are in London as well, I think in front of the Tower of London. And we had a selfie stick with us, and we had a lot of fun throughout the tour with that selfie stick. Then down below, you can see our whole group. We were standing in front of the National Gallery. We had 21 travelers, and it was an amazing experience that we'll share in just a few minutes, a little more details, but just wanted to give you some information as to why we're doing this. It sounds kind of crazy. Why would we even think about student travel? But it was something that as our children became high schoolers that we thought would be, and we were studying a lot of European Western culture and those types of things, art, music, how cool it would be if we were able to experience what we were learning. And we knew that there were the public high schools and the private high schools had a program such as this, but homeschoolers didn't really have something readily available to them. And so we began investigating, and it worked out that we took a group this past May 2018, and we went to London, Paris, Rome, and Florence. And again, it was just an amazing experience. So we wanted to sort of fill that gap for homeschoolers, and then also we wanted to hopefully, by actually going and seeing and doing the things that they have been studying over the course of their high school career, or really their whole academic career, that would inspire them to be even greater lifelong learners and have a love to learn and see the world and everything that God has created. And so that was sort of the why. And as I mentioned, this is an opportunity for homeschool high school students. I will say, though, that if there is a student that you know or there's a friend of yours that it does not currently homeschool but that you would love to travel with, they are also very welcome. Parents are welcome as well. This is really for the homeschool community. Then the what, again, is a student travel abroad program. And we'll get into some more details as we move forward. I'd like to share some quotes from our students that traveled with us so that you can even gain a better understanding of just what we experienced. And the first quote is from a student, and she says, "Before this trip, the world was simply a textbook full of culture and history, but now it's alive and vibrant. Not only that, but an appreciation towards different cultures and their history was birthed. By traveling to London, Paris, Florence, and Rome, I gained a different perspective on life. I can't explain it, but somehow my sense of adventure and learning was broadened." And that is it in a nutshell. She really, really captured those feelings well. Another student said, "London showed me a bigger world. The Roman Forum showed me history connected to the present, and the food showed me a different way to eat and taste." And we found that to be very much true. Our tour director had taken us to what's called Borough Market in London, and it is a market that's been around since the 12th century. And it just had such a vast variety of foods, and it was so cool to watch our students go and try the different foods and be so excited about it. We had students coming up to us and showing us that they had tried camel or that they had tried sea urchin, and they just were super excited to try these new things and these new experiences. And I'm not sure they always are exuberant and willing to try new foods at home, but they certainly were on tour. A teacher said, "There aren't enough adjectives to describe this experience. It was utterly amazing, incredible food, sights, and experiences. Everyone must go." And I would second this sentiment wholeheartedly. Everyone must go, and I cannot come up with enough adjectives to describe the experience. Incredible. Another student said, traveling allowed me to experience places I had read about and paintings I had studied, all while being out of my comfort zone. Traveling allowed me to gain experiential knowledge instead of academic knowledge. And I love this because it's so true. We learn so much in class, and it's amazing and wonderful, wonderful things that we are pouring into our minds. But to actually get to go and see it and touch it and really experience just brings the history to life. And so that was really a cool aspect to this whole thing. Okay, so we are heading to Europe, and this time we are going on an 11-day tour with the theme of the World War II and the Western Front. And we will be traveling in May of 2019, and I'll go over more specifics of that as we move on. As I mentioned, we'll be touring in May of 2019. Our specific requested day of departure is May 13th. However, EF asks us to give them a little bit of a window there, a 4-day window on either side of that date, so that they can work with the airlines and make sure that we get the best possible rates on our flights. And so what that means is basically if our requested date is May 13th of departure, then 4 days prior to that would be May 9th. So the earliest that we could depart would be May 9th. And then the latest that we could depart would be May 13th, add 4 days to that, so that would be May 17th. And if we were to depart on May 17th, then our return date would be May 27th, and that would be the latest that we would return. So you have this window here of May 9th through May 27th that you want to keep open if you're planning on joining us for this tour. And that will be confirmed for us as we get closer, probably about, I want to say it was closer to 3 months out. We had our final, and maybe even more than that, we had our final departure date. So we'll keep you posted on that. Why travel? Why this tour? Well, as you can see, it is definitely education focused. It is very much an intense learning experience. We see so much. We go. We are on the go. We probably walk 7 to 10 miles a day, but we see so much, and I love that, and I think that that's important, that we are exposing our kids to all of these different things that really they've already been exposed to in books, but now it's coming to life. It's adding that layer of learning, and some of the things that we saw on our tour this past May was just an amazing amount of confidence and growth that we saw in them. They were awed by what they saw. They took it all in. They were impressed by it. They were respectful of it. They were engaged in conversation, not just with each other, but other adults as well. But it was really cool to see them have these conversations with each other and the different adults, the tour guides, for them to converse with the tour guides, our tour director as well. And they would talk about things anywhere from why the Mona Lisa is so popular. Why do people continue to go see her? It was packed when we went to the Louvre to visit the Mona Lisa. And, why is it that she is so popular? And then we had conversations about the contrast between the Gothic and modern architecture that you find right next to each other in London. We also talked about the amazing physics involved in creating the Pantheon. So long ago, it was an amazing feat. And so these kids were just inspired by what they saw, and they wanted to do and see more. They did not want to stop, and that is a really cool thing, and another reason why we do this, why we travel. It provides a global perspective. This was also something that I think the kids communicated after coming back. We learn about the world, but we really do just live in our small corner of that world. And so to get out and really experience different cultures and different people gives them a much better appreciation and perspective. And we were able to communicate with the other cultures, and that was really cool too. Even if they didn't speak English or spoke very little English, we had some really fun and interesting conversations, anywhere from talking about gun control and debating over that, and that kind of thing with our driver in France. So it was really cool experience. And also it develops a perspective that sets students apart. So by having this experience, they can talk about it, they can write about it in their college essays, they can share their experiences, and it does set them apart. Group travel. Why travel as a group? Well, first and foremost, we get to travel with our friends and family, and that's really cool because we have probably been learning with these same people, the same things, and to get to travel with them and see firsthand all the different things that we've been learning, and then to have conversations about them is amazing. The other reason is we meet other students. Like for our triplet this past May, we had students from Indiana, Texas, Iowa, and Tennessee that joined us. And this is the case. We could have students from all over the country or even all over the world joining us. And we, some of us met in Indianapolis, and some of us then, some of the folks decided that they would just fly into London, and we would all meet in London, and then we traveled together. So we got to meet other students from across the country that were learning some of the same things that we were learning and had the same interests. And so there were lasting friendships that were developed. And so that's really cool. It also gives us some flexibility with EF, in that if we have a group that is the size of 36 to 42 people, then we are able to keep things affordable. And so some great reasons to travel as a group. Okay, so EF Educational Tours. I've mentioned EF several times. They are our travel partner, and they are very experienced. They're a world leader in international education, 50 plus years of experience. And the education is not just in travel, but also 500 schools and offices in 53 countries. We were actually able to visit, and when we were in Italy, one of their schools, their language schools in Rome, and that was pretty cool to know that they're all over the place, and also comforting to know that they have offices on the ground wherever we are, and so that does provide us with a sense of security. And then they also guarantee the lowest price. The other thing that we really appreciated with EF, and one of the reasons that we did decide to partner with them, is their emphasis on safety. It is very much important to them and a priority to them, and some of the ways that they provide that for us are their 24/7 tour director. And I've mentioned our tour director last year. It was so helpful to have someone, to know that we have someone there to meet us at the airport in a country that we've not been before, and then to be with us throughout the whole trip. If anything were to happen, we knew that we had somebody that could assist us. And not only that, but this is somebody that knows the area, knows the people, knows the language, and so that definitely gave us, those of us that were parents and chaperones, a sense of security and safety. They have a local presence, which I mentioned already. They have a 24-hour emergency line. This is a number that the students all receive on a band on their wrist that they keep on the whole entire time. And that way they have it in case they need to get in touch with anybody at EF. There's the peace of mind policy, which is basically if there is something that is happening in the world or in a country that we're getting ready to visit that maybe is a concern for our safety, then EF will switch gears immediately and reroute us and take care of all the arrangements of getting us to not to cancel our tour, but to reroute our tour so that we are safe always. And then they also do support those safety policies that our chaperones do put in place as well. EF also offers educational resources. They offer a high school credit, college credit, and college applications. The high school credit is through their WeShare program. We can talk more about that, and you can learn more about that on their website. There is also a college credit that is provided through an accredited college, and it is 3 hours of credit, and there is a fee for that, but it is very reasonable for 3 hours of college credit. And then you could use this tour as your platform for your personal essay when you are filling out your college applications. So in essence, this tour, you could receive, if you're a high school student, a dual credit, high school credit and college credit. So it's a very it's a good value. All right, so onto our itinerary. What will we see, do, eat, and experience? Well, you can see here from the map that we're flying into London. In London, we'll stay for a couple days. And in fact, you can see any of the cities where there is a number in parentheses. That just tells you that we will stay there for that many nights. And so we're in Normandy for 2 nights, we're in Paris for 2 nights, we're in Bastogne for 1 night, and then Berlin for 2 nights, and we fly home from Berlin. As we mentioned, we will be in these major cities right here, London, Paris, Normandy, and Berlin. And there are so many different things that we will see in these different cities. On the next slide, I'll give you some highlights, but I also want to just let you know that this is something that we're working on. As I mentioned, we do have our tour director that we had for this past tour. He is going to be our tour director in the May 2019 tour, which means that he will be working with us now for the these next 8 months, to customize our tour as much as possible. So some of the specifics we will be adding as we go, and so that's super exciting. Okay, so here are some highlights of our tour. We will visit the Churchill War Rooms. We did have the opportunity to visit the War Rooms this past May, and it is an amazing museum and experience, and I'm looking forward to going back and seeing it again and adding that layer of learning. We will visit the D-Day beaches, visit Notre Dame, see the Eiffel Tower, the Berlin Wall, Checkpoint Charlie, and see the Brandenburg Gate. And while this tour is a World War II focus, we will be actually seeing and covering much more of U.S. and world history than just World War II. We will still visit different art museums. We will see the ancients and the Renaissance art and be exposed to the modern art. And then we will also experience both the urban cultures as well as the countryside. And so I'm excited about that. Our last tour was very focused on the urban sites, and this is kind of a mix of both. And so we're super excited about that. All right, so what's included and what's not included? Round trip airfare is included, all of your accommodations, all of the hotel rooms that we stay in, and they are very nice quality hotel rooms. Our tour director, as we said, he will be with us 24/7, and in our case, he is multilingual, and that came in handy so many different times when we were in different countries and needed to speak to locals, whether it be a driver or a hotel clerk, whatever. It was so nice to have someone that knew our needs and was able to communicate well, and it just gave us a sense of confidence. All of your on-tour transportation is included, and that can range from your tour bus to the city bus to the subway system, the Eurostar train, to the ferry. I mean, it's just anything that gets you from point A to point B while you're on tour is included. Educational itinerary, this is great because we have our tour director already in place, and we will be taking the next 8 months, as I mentioned, to plan out that itinerary and base it on our educational needs. Guided tours and activities are included. For instance, we took a guided tour of London, and that was all included. It paid for the tour guide. And then also any activities such as the War Room Museum that we will visit is included. Breakfast and dinner daily. We eat breakfast at the hotel, and they have wonderful breakfasts, great coffee, and then dinner daily at just various restaurants throughout the cities that we are touring. 24/7 on-tour assistance, your traveler support team and tour donation page are also included. Additionally, the WeShare online education platform is included, and what that means is it is the high school credit program. That is how you receive high school credit. The Uncommon App College Essay Toolkit is also included. And what that means is that there is some help for you when you are writing your college essay. And if you want to use the tour as your platform, this is a great tool. Your travel backpack is included, and the Global Travel Protection Plan. The Global Travel Protection Plan is essentially your insurance plan, travel insurance. And it just protects you that if something were to happen on tour and you had to fly home, or someone had to fly to you, or you got sick and couldn't complete the tour, you would be reimbursed for those things that you missed out on. Okay, the few things that you will need to cover that are not included in the package would be the passport and visa fees. Those range from, I think, about $115 to $125, but check with your post office. They will have the rates and the process with which you receive your passport. We'll talk more about that as we move forward. The airport baggage fees, hopefully you won't have too many of those. If we're going to pack light, most people took a backpack or a rolling bag and then a small carry-on, and not many people checked bags. You're welcome to check bags. I think you have the option of checking one or two without fees, but airports vary, so we would check with the countries that we are traveling in to see what those fees are, but you would be responsible for those fees. Lunches and snacks. Lunches are on your own, which is a really cool thing because you get to experience some time on your own. We went into a market and just got some things on the go in Italy, and that was really a cool thing. And then picnicked on the sidewalk and people watched. So you have different options there, which is a nice thing to have. Spending money is also something that you would want to take care of, as well as tips, and we'll talk more about tips as we get closer. All right, so making it happen. How do we make this happen? Well, there are options. AEF does give you the opportunity to pay on a biweekly basis, a monthly basis, in full. There are a couple other options as well, and when you go to register, you can look at those options, or you can contact customer service. I will tell you that the $38.55 is our student rate, and it is locked in right now through September 30th. But come October 1st, that rate will begin to creep up, and it's by about $75 to $100 a month. So if this is something that you're considering, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and register before September 30th in order to take advantage of this rate, this locked-in rate. Now, but practically speaking, how do we come up with $38.55? That's a lot. And we know we did this last year, and it was an effort. We had to work at it. But some of the things that I can share with you that we did. One of them was we worked at it. We had students that babysat, that picked grapes. They did anything they could to make extra money, and they applied it to their payment. And we had students that work on a regular basis at a job part-time, and so part of their paycheck each week would go to their trip. We had fundraising. That's another option. We did several things fundraising, but one of the things I think was the most effective was if you have multiple families that are willing to donate their things for you to have a yard sale or a garage sale, particularly big ticket items like a lawnmower or bicycles or furniture, those types of things, electronics. If you can have multiple families donate those items to you, you have the garage sale, then anything that you obtain from the garage sale, then you get to apply that to your trip fund. And you can do that anytime you get money. You can go to your donation page and make a donation. And so every time a donation is made, your monthly payment goes down. Obviously, your total payment goes down, but then your monthly payments go down as well. Another thing is family and friends donating for birthday, Christmas, those types of things. You might just tell grandparents and friends and family that, hey, I'm really excited about this trip. It's going to be a great experience. And if you would like to, for a Christmas present, this would be a great option. So that's something to think about. Then sponsorships are also something that you can consider. If you have a church or a business that would want to sponsor you, this is an academic, an educational endeavor, and it adds to your education. It is a very intense learning experience, and so if you have somebody that would want to back you on that, then approach those folks and see if they would be willing to do that. So there are lots of options, and yes, it is a lot of money, and yes, it's hard work, but it can be done. And if this is an area where your family is saying this would be a great opportunity and God is leading you in that direction, then go for it. And it's just where there's a will, there's a way. And it's a matter of putting down that $95 to save your spot. By the way, that $95 is non-refundable. However, it is applied to your total. So immediately you knock off $95 from your total. So I encourage you again not to forget that deadline. I have that deadline here. If you are ready to enroll, or even if you just want to learn more about the tour, you go to eftours.com/2097093TM. And as I mentioned, that deadline of September 30th, 2018 is quickly approaching. It doesn't mean that you can't register for the tour after that. It just means that the price that we quoted of $38.55 is locked in right now, and after September 30th, it will probably go up. So again, we want you to take advantage of and not miss out on any of the savings there. All right, so what's next? As I mentioned, $95 holds your spot. You can go check out the EF Tours web page. It will give you all the information about our tour, like I said, the expanded itinerary, the more specific information. And if you have any additional questions whatsoever for me, my number is 812-718-5444, and you can call or text. Our email address is bartandbethhudson@mac.com. We would love to have the opportunity to chat with you more about the tour. If you have any questions, we would love to answer those. If you're local and you want to meet for coffee, we would love to do that. If not, we can Skype, whatever y'all want to do. If you need more information, we are happy to do that. And we look forward to hearing from you, and hopefully we get to travel with you in May of 2019. Thanks so much and have a great day.